Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is part of the WCG 2009 US Finals qualifiers, and we have G5 going up against Lzgamer. G5 starting the up right-hand corner as the teal protoss. Bottom left-hand corner we have Lzgamer as the yellow zerg, and this is going to be on Blue Storm. Blue Storm, one of those maps that I feel like Destination kind of took over Blue Storm's role, is the potpourri map that people really enjoyed playing. It's been featured in a lot of tournaments. I feel like it's zerg favored for several reasons. First of all, you've got a very wide open secondary and no ramp to really work with. This gap, Zerglings can fit through, Zealots can fit through, but beyond that, the only Zerg unit I can think of that doesn't fit through that gap is an Ultralisk, really. Basically all small units, Hydralisks can go through there, but Dragoons, one of the staples of the Protoss army, have big mobility problems going through that gap, and they just end up freaking out on their pathing, so you have to really be on top of your Dragoon pathing on this map. Additionally, Mutalisk Cuirasses can be very, very strong across this edge. If you place cannons behind your base to defend against the Mutalisk Cuirass on the natural secondary, they actually aren't covering your front door either. And then once you're going into the mid-game, you have the Mineral Only, which is vulnerable to Psystorm across kind of an empty, you can see the High Templar in position, Psystorming from the top. But otherwise, the upper left-hand corner is almost dangerous for Protoss players to start attacking, should they decide to attack, because you've got these ramps that are, if you can see the units floating out in the field, they just end up trapped in that upper left-hand corner. You end up losing your large Protoss ball, and as well as that 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock position, fairly easy to isolate and defend. You can put that evolution chamber down, put the Sunken Colony behind it, and go from there. So between the easily to harass secondary and also nice options for bases past that, I feel like Zerg end up with an overall advantage. But that being said, I think G5 is definitely game for it. He's one of those guys who's very, very creative. He's no slouch on micromanagement, and he kind of plays off the wall, plays a little bit unpredictably, which is very difficult when you're going up against him, I think. Especially a player like Lzgamer. I think Lzgamer plays really well in kind of the micro wars, and I don't think that G5 is one of those opponents he can just run over the top of with just straight micro strategies. So let's see if he kind of employs that. And really, let's see how he plays, because I think the best way for Protoss to win in this map is just to keep the upgrade advantage and work off that large Protoss ball, just expand steadily and work from there. Lzgamer has some really nice all-in builds, I would say, into the mid-game, and I think out of any player that really executes all-in builds into the mid-game, he is probably the strongest at it, just because his micro is so amazing. But we'll see what he decides to do. Right now, it looks like he's going to place that hatchery at that mineral only, which suggests he's going to go transitioning into a 3-hatchery build, perhaps. This Blue Storm was popular towards the trailing end of the 3-hatchery build. Let's see how G5 decides to respond to it. He is getting a scout out. I guess he just also didn't want to deal with G5's probe harass on that second base. It looks like G5 actually has his probe fairly isolated, might lose it here. I have no idea actually how he didn't lose it right there. It looks like Lzgamer didn't quite get an attack there, and G5 actually playing quite safe. You can see worried about a Zergling run by, maybe some speed Zerglings off that overpool, planning the 2 cannons first rather than going for Nexus first. So going to end up a little bit economically behind where he really wants to be, but at the same time, I really feel like G5 has an advantage at lands overall, just because he's a very calm player, so he can execute really precisely where other players just aren't playing as calm. I think this is one of the later games played, though, so I have a feeling Lzgamer is going to be a little bit more confident going into this match than usual, so that's not going to play as high as it would have otherwise. Still, G5 an excellent competitor. He has a way of just sticking around in games and coming back and just having amazing just off-the-wall things you don't expect, catching opponents off guard left and right. I think that's his marquee. So I think he's going to be an excellent opponent against Lzgamer. I can't really favor one guy between the other, and so I think this is going to be a really fun match to watch. Zerglings approaching, going to have to back off after that single cannon hit. And this is actually a non-standard front door, but that's pretty normal for G5. It's still very operational. Some nice troop movements you can see kind of coming across the edge, and I think that also will help the Dragoon pathing ultimately. Instead of having them wander back and forth across this edge, you kind of got to keep an eye on them on the front door as it is. So that could provide some helpful info. And actually, where the standard also is to deny that probe scout early, it looks like G5 able to get that probe through, and Lzgamer actually not taking his gas. Wow, not taking his gas and placing a 4th hatchery here. So saturating, it looks like he's going to play a heavy early economic game, and let's see how G5 is going to respond to it. I think if he goes with some early gateways and maybe even early Corsairs, because it's going to be a while before Lzgamer is going to be able to get any sort of anti-Corsair play out. It looks like we already have that Cybernetics core most of the way finished. Looks like those probes, that probe scout actually killed again, but G5 got the information he's really looking for. 2 hatcheries, no gas. Maybe he's assuming that gas is at the secondary here. It looks like LZ finally taking that gas, but he is a far cry away from any sort of anti-air. He might have to go with an evolution chamber or just basically throw a lot of resources into overlords just to keep his economy running here at this stage. He's got 27 supply and mostly drones. He's just got a couple zerglings here. G5 now has his secondary running. It looks like he's placing his second gas, so rather than going for some early attack, it looks like he's going to go for a modified Bisu build. He tends to play with the Dark Templar early. I think he's very good with Dark Templar, but he tends not to commit to it. He doesn't continue with the Corsair production. He doesn't continue with the DT production. I think he just likes having that tech out there. So he's got that Citadel of Adun down. I don't see any additional gateways being placed, though, so playing a little bit light. I'm hoping he produces a glut of Corsairs because he could really punish Lzgamer for that. Because LZ actually putting down an additional hatchery before I don't see his Hydralisk Den, before his Hydralisk Den even. So he's going to play a mass economy game here to start and just try to run over G5. It looks like in the mid game, just play map control from that point on. Let's see how much success he's going to do. So yeah, getting that creep colony, which is very intelligent on his part, because he'd have to worry about the attacks right there. It looks like the Zealot's clearing off those Zerglings on the front door. So that one Zergling able to escape. Still, actually, and that shows you unit efficiency right there, actually. The 6 Zerglings able to take out one of those Zealots. Very nice there on Lzgamer's part. Looks like that Overlord is going to spot that Citadel of Adun and that Stargate, so he's going to know what's up. 2 gateways now being planted, and there's that Templar Archives. Let's see, again, there's the Corsair out in the field, and again, nothing to oppose him for quite some time, and I don't see G5 producing additional Corsairs, which is a bit disappointing. Looks like he is going to be able to kill another Overlord out in the field, but I think if he just produced a ton of Corsairs right here, as you can see, I don't even see, it looks like the Hydralisk Den just now getting started here for Lzgamer. So, and let's see if these, well, is there a Dark Templar out in the field yet? I assume G5 is going to produce a Dark Templar. It looks like it's 2/3 produced, so not quite there on the field, not quite out the timing for it. So maybe if the Corsair can clear a bit of room, get a couple Overlord kills, at the very least he's going to put LZ in the red. He's, wow, already layer tech here for Lzgamer. Looks like he's finally getting Evolution Chamber down. He should have Hydralisks in not too long, but not before this Corsair gets a couple more kills. Again, I wish a couple more Corsair were out in the mix, because they would just be able to bonus up on it. And it looks like LZ is just going to compensate by producing a ton of Overlords. 2 Evolution Chambers going down for Lzgamer. The Corsair is going to see it. I like this maneuver for LZ, particularly in the strategy, because basically what it looks like he's going to do is he's going to try to deny G5 his third, or at least try to take out that third early, and make sure that G5 can never get that upgrade advantage, which Protoss tend to win on this map. That tends to be their one major option here. And it looks like going for melee upgrade, maybe, I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not, but going for melee instead of Spines upgrade with the Hydralisks being produced, that Corsair, not long for life, still able to get that last kill, but going to back off now. G5 feeling like he's got a little bit of realizing, actually, I think that his economy would sag otherwise comparably, going to take this third a little bit earlier than he would have otherwise and try to deal with a lot of High Templar and a lot of Psystorm. Nice, I think he actually might already have finished upgrading, I'm not positive here. But a really nice decision on his part, I think, simply because the High Templar are the best way to cut through Zerg forces. The great equalizer, as Moltribe likes saying. And really, yeah, I think that's the wisest decision here. Go take your third, try to even things up economically as best as possible. Don't let Lzgamer pin you back in the corner. Let's see if he's going to be able to maintain the upgrades as well. He's already got that level 1 weapons alongside. I'm curious if he's going to place down a second forge after seeing those 2 evolution chambers. And yeah, just pumping High Templar, which again is, I think, going to be the key to repelling Lzgamer from taking out his third and just keeping that brutal economic advantage. It looks like those lurkers able to take out that Corsair, not before G5 sees that army out in the field. Yeah, Carapace about halfway finished, but the Hydralisk Den now evolving Lurker Tech. So, and it looks like Speed also being upgraded alongside. So yeah, Lzgamer definitely thinking, I think it's possible he could go with a drop here into the late game. Looks like Weapons 1 being upgraded. G5 just checking that 6 o'clock position to see if LZ is going to pause at this stage or just continue with that economic game. It looks like he also has a Dark Templar patrolling that northern border. But the Hydralisk is starting to move forward. He's already got, looks like G5 has plenty of High Templar and plenty of cannons to defend against this, though. And the Hydralisk having to back off. That was a bit of a miscue, I think, from LZ. Rare, uncharacteristic miscue, actually, I would say, and pushing those Hydralisks in before and really putting those High Templar on high alert. You can see they're already spreading out, trying to get that magic box so they can get the nice Psystorm spread across the large group of Hydralisks that might be there. But you can see LZ, really nice drone saturation in all of his expansions already. Looks like he's already got that Overlord speed upgrade, and I'm kind of curious right after this if he's going to go with that drop upgrade. Looks like he does have a drone. Was headed out to that 12 o'clock position, got taken out by that Dark Templar. Let's see if he moves an Overlord out to that location. He at least knows it's around there. Now that it's complete, doesn't look like he's going to continue with that drop upgrade. Just going to produce a ton of Hydralisks.